Trump voters are calling into right wing talking head shows, trying to get them to reason with the president not to fire people who voted for Trump. That's right. The ridiculousness of the Trump era continues. People do not want Trump voters to get fired from their government jobs or veterans to get fired from their government jobs. Only liberals and Democrats. This is the country we live in now. So Media Matters put together a bunch of these radio talk show commentary shows like Sean Hannity, the bastard children of the Rush Limbaugh era, um, people calling in, trying to reason and beg with them and grovel not to fire veterans and people who voted for Trump. But Trump doesn't care. Elon Musk doesn't care. When are you people going to get it through your heads? So let's take a listen to some of these. And the headline reads, people are calling into right-wing radio shows to voice frustrations with the Trump administration. Here's right-wing Trump ball licker Sean Hannity.
Eric is in Wisconsin. Hey, Eric, how are you? Glad you called.
Hey, Sean, thank you so much for all you're doing. We sure appreciate it here in Wisconsin, and we tried to help out this election cycle.
Well, you helped out big time. You did. Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina, Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, all of you helped. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wish we could have got Tammy Baldwin out of there, but it didn't work out too well.
Yeah, well, you came close. I mean, unfortunately, you don't win every game you play.
Yeah, right. Hey, I just awesome stuff that Doge is doing with Elon Musk, and we sure appreciate it out here is what kind of farmers and taxpayers and all that good stuff. But one thing I'm concerned about, Sean, a little bit.
Oh, yeah, because the rest of us aren't taxpayers, Mr. Farmer douchebag.
And I'm concerned the liberal media might run with this is one of our tenants just recently got laid off from the USDA, and he's disabled vet, multiple deployments overseas, and the guy is without a job now, and I'm just afraid that stuff like this is going to get out there. And I know you got a soft spot for military and police and EMS and all those guys, and just a little concerning that we don't let these guys fall off the wagon here and get neglected because they've done so much for our country.
And the wagon is the Trump train of lies, deceitfulness, and fascism? Is that the wagon they're falling off of? Let me get this straight. You don't want them to vote for somebody who legislates in their interests and not in the interests of billionaires and corporations and Elon Musk and Nazis? Okay.
Country.
Real patriot.
Look, I don't like to see anybody in a position where they're going to lose their job. In the case of USAID, and obviously your friend, I'm sure, is not a part of this, but there was, tens and tens and tens of billions of dollars just thrown down the drain and stolen from the American people and our children and grandchildren.
So the guy doesn't work for USAID. He works for the Department of Agriculture, which directly affects this farmer guy. So I don't know what Hannity's talking about.
It's just unfortunate he worked for them. With that said, there are going to be a lot of job openings. A lot of people, for example, retired and took the early retirement and payout. And then there's going to be jobs hopefully created in the energy sector when we blow that out, which I believe the president's going to do as quickly as possible, and other opportunities. We all have to think of the what if you.
So this disabled veteran's going to go to work in the energy sector as what? A drill rigger? What's he going to do in the energy sector?
Lose your job. Everybody has to have that in the back of their head. My entire career, I assumed I'd be fired any day. Mm-hmm. And with the, but smart, innovative, hardworking people will always be in demand. Always. And it sounds like, I'm describing your friend.
I would say Hannity's more deceitful, corrupt, disingenuous, maybe hardworking. But I mean, I think he makes $15 million a year. So if he's fired any day, it does it really matter? This disabled veteran they're talking about is not going to have his health care. I'm sure he has health problems. He's not going to have his salary. Uh, and he could apply for a job in the oil and gas industry. Will he even get a job? Is he qualified for a job in the oil and gas industry?
And I would just urge that person, do not get discouraged. And I don't know if he's getting the buyout or not getting the buyout. I'm not sure. If he is, that would mean he has until October 1. He will get paid until then. That gives him time, and that gives him time, to find a job that he's going to, thrive in and be successful at and be happy and secure again. And however, to continue to spend tens of billions of dollars on wokeism, transgenderism, DEI, and the Green New Deal abroad as the
Yes, we can't spend money on that when we have to give tax cuts to the rich like Sean Hannity, Donald Trump, and Elon Musk.
country veers off into bankruptcy is not an alternative. It's not an option for us. And you can't do this to the American taxpayer either. And he's just caught up in that. Unfortunately for him, there are good people that are going to be, hurt because the people that have done this to the country have put them in vulnerable positions. It's really not Donald Trump that put them in the vulnerable position. It's the people that wasted all this money that put them in the vulnerable position.
Look at him cover for Trump. It's not Donald Trump, although he did fire you. He didn't put you in the vulnerable position. It's the people who wasted all this money. The rest of the Republican Party and all the Democrats too. But basically the 1%, the donor class.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's tough to see, and especially for veterans that have done so much. We just we got.
You know what? But there will be.
Didn't this guy say he was his tenant? Is he just worried about not getting his rent next month? Probably. Typical conservative.
Be other opportunities that are now going to emerge in a new economy, and make sure that he makes available to him that I would have go and get that government payout till October 1. That buys him time. And what I say to people that are out of work all the time, I say you get up every day early in the morning and you work the same way you would work at a job. And your job that day is to find your next job. That's your work that day. And there's not anybody and maybe you don't get the one you want in the beginning, but there's nobody that I know that can't find a job, at least temporarily, to get them over the hump, pay their rent, pay their car payment, et cetera, until.
Yeah, tell the disabled vet I hear Walmart's hiring. $7.35 an hour.
They get the job that they really do like and the one that they're most suited for. But you have to have that mindset. You can't just sit home and maybe take a couple of days. After that, you got to start working at finding work. And I'd recommend that.
Okay, Hannity's one of the biggest, most disingenuous liars on the air, on Fox. He's a shill for Trump. He's basically a useless piece of garbage. Let's see what else we have here. Okay, here's the right-wing Clay Travis show. Apparently, this listener is not happy with Trump's views on Ukraine.
Linda, I'm told by our team you have 3 adopted Ukrainian kids. You want to weigh in on the Ukraine situation. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to preface this by saying I support President Trump. I'm very happy he's president. I love what he's doing with Doge. However, I'm not happy with his recent comments on Ukraine. I spent quite a bit of time in Ukraine.
I support people getting fired by Doge. I support the racism, but I'm not happy with Ukraine. I like Ukraine.
And they love freedom there. They want their independence. But this comment about Zelensky being a dictator is just not correct. The Constitution in Ukraine actually does not allow for elections during wartime. His popularity in Ukraine is actually above 50%. And
so let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Linda. I appreciate you calling in. How should it end?
I agree with Trump that it needs to end. I mean, the country is devastated. My daughter's orphanage has been bombed. Like, why are they bombing orphanages? Putin is such an evil, evil person. And obviously, we're all very upset about the war in our family. So I agree that it needs to end. I agree with Trump. Probably Ukraine is going to have to concede some land, maybe creep 214. I'm hoping they can get back the land they've taken in the last 3 years. I think Russia's not going to give up Crimea for sure. They may have to say goodbye to Donbass. I agree for negotiated settlement. I mean, I don't like it, but it is what it is. But I don't know if it's productive for him to exclude Zelensky from talks. And it's definitely not productive to say that he should have stopped the war when Putin literally gave Zelensky no choice. He invaded. The only option they had was to abdicate and have no Ukraine, have no country, have no language, have no culture. They were going to.
Linda, thank you very much for. Yeah, we're sorry, we're at the end of the hour here. Appreciate you calling in. Thank you for sharing your perspective on it. Just in response to some of the points you've raised, I would say, Trump's only been in office for a month, and it seems like it's finally realistic because you want the war to end too, as we all do. It's realistic.
Recall Trump said on the first day he was in office, January 20th, he was going to end the war. Now, Trump's only been in a month. Let's push the goalpost back again more. Let's keep, flexing the truth for Trump. Let's keep moving the goalposts for Trump. You think if it was Biden, they would have accepted anything but what he said, literally?
That may happen imminently. So, as they say, let the man cook. He does his thing, and it's not always the way of the the diplomatic niceties that are expected in these things, but the results are what matter. In this case, results that save lives and billions, perhaps hundreds of billions of dollars of taxpayer money.
Yeah, and I would submit to you that on some level, Trump is playing the bad guy, which.
Okay, so they're inflating the numbers. In 3 years, we've given $80 billion in weapons and money. So hundreds of billions, a little bit of an inflation, but yeah, it's a lot of money. But, how much money do we give back in taxes to billionaires every year?
May give him more opportunity to get a deal done with Russia.
I mean, it's like, you want to deal with Trump or you want to deal with Rubio? It's kind of a good cop, bad cop situation. Rubio's like, look, I'm the nice one here.
I think for sure. Buck, you are out for the weekend. We'll be back on Monday. I'll close up.
Yeah, the only person in Congress dumber than Rubio, and he's not in Congress, is Trump. This next one is from the Chris DeGaulle show. Somebody calling in and complaining about the disrespect of federal workers. That one hits close to home. I definitely have felt that, and a lot of my colleagues and people I know.
I've had quite a bit of outreach from you federal workers. Now listen, I feel I have to call a truce or something. I feel I'm going to have to start the week careful. Because I thought I made this clear last week, but apparently I didn't do a good enough job. So I'll try it again, because I got a lot of email. Disappointed email, admonishing email. In fact, maybe I should just read one to you now. I didn't intend to do this, but maybe I should just read one now, because I want you to. I'm going to withhold the name. But this individual, we'll call her Kim. Even though Kim, this is not Kim, but Kim anyway, she says, when Bill Bennett retired from morning radio, I was sad, and I wanted to love his replacement. And I've enjoyed Hugh Hewitt. And now you're replacing Hugh. And I really want to grow and love your show, too. Now, you knew that was a setup to, I can't stand you right now. So I read on. You have so much promise, yet it's difficult to get beyond your disrespect and disregard for federal employees. Now, Kim, I'm calling her, is not the only one of these that I got on both X and in email. But Kim said, I am an attorney, and I believe that ensuring the federal law is correctly and consistently interpreted and applied is a high service to our nation. From our new Attorney General Pam Bondi to every attorney across every department, this is what we must strive for, or the rule of law is meaningless. When I went to law school, we were encouraged to offer part of our career to public service. Working for the government was a major part of public service options. So, I will strive for the highest ideals in serving the public and upholding U.S. law. I have always had a strong work ethic, and my current and prior federal government positions have been no exception. Kim, and you know who you are if you sent that email to me. Let me say again, and I actually responded to this person, and I said, if you are listening to this show with regularity, we've been at it about a month, then you should know something about me. And it is, if you're listening to this show, odds are you're probably not one of the people most of the American taxpayers have trouble with, because you're conscientious and you're informed and you work hard. And if you're up at this hour, I guarantee you.
Oh, yeah. If you're a federal worker and you listen to the Chris Stegall show, whoever that is, then you're conscientious and you work hard. If you don't, though, you're a loser and a bum. You don't work hard at the federal government. These people are just too much. I can't.
Probably do. So I want to start by saying I am not going to war with every person that works in the federal government. And I don't believe Elon or Trump is going to war with every person that works in the federal government. But folks, I'm going to talk to you like an adult here for a minute. Grow up. Grow up. If you work for the federal government.
You grow up, Chris Stegall, no balls, Stegalls. The bureaucracy in the federal government is from legislation by Congress. The reason we have to pay $50 for a hammer and $250 for a door handle and $1,000 for a door is because of things that Congress legislated. Your boys up there, the Republicans and the Democrats, but mostly Republicans, to help out corporations. That's how the government works. We're forced to buy things from certain companies through the GSA that are double, triple, quadruple the price that we could get them for a Home Depot. I have personal experience with this. We're forced to buy them through the GSA. We have to go there first. We can't buy stuff from another country. That's illegal. You can't buy, you have to buy American-made stuff, which is more expensive to begin with. And then these companies know that we have to buy it from them because it's legislated from Congress. So they triple, quadruple the price. They don't care because they have a captive audience. That's what idiots like Chris Stegall don't understand.
You need to grow up, respectfully. And if you don't understand why the American taxpayer is pretty sick and tired and fed up with the dysfunction of government, and it's not serving us well, and the fact that we every April have to get our taxes in and we pay out the nose, we're $36 trillion in debt. We got a government for the last 4 years that's been weaponized against us that we're funding. Now we're uncovering all of this waste, fraud, and abuse. If you want to internalize that, and
all the waste, fraud, and abuse that was uncovered was mostly debunked. News outlets, credible news outlets, the New York Times, Politico looked into it. The $50 billion turns out to be a couple $100 million in waste, fraud, and abuse. And it's questionable whether it's even waste, fraud, and abuse. One person's waste, fraud, and abuse is another person's, food for starving children in Africa.
Take that personally, that Elon is now asking everyone in an email over the weekend, respond to this email to show us what you've been doing this week, or else. If you want to take exception with that, that's on you. If you're feeling sensitive about this conversation, that's on you. If you're feeling worried, welcome. Welcome to what every single one of us who work in the private sector, every man who provides for his family and works.
This guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Don't listen to the Chris Stegall show because he's a liar and a shill for Trump and the conservatives. Well, I mean, all of AM right-wing radio is. Okay, here's the Brian Kilmeade show, the biggest Trump ball licker there is. Somebody calling in asking why Doge is trying to bribe people with 5,000 dividend checks that they know they're never going to send out because it would send the economy into a whirlwind, blow up inflation, and it's just not going to happen.
Crispin, you're in Arizona. Hey, Crispin.
Hey, it's nice to talk to you.
What's on your mind?
What's on my mind is, say if you just take 100,000 people, and I know 65,000 voluntarily withdraw from the jobs. If you take 100,000 people at 50,000, that's about $5 billion, a drop in the bucket. The last tax break that Trump gave was 1.9 trillion, and 65% went to people making over 130,000 a year. That amount is like 1.2 to 1.3 trillion. If you're going to get after the excess spending, you have to go after military waste and the rich, make the rich pay. Instead, he's trying to offer a $5,000 bribe.
But I would say the top 10% pay 70% of all taxes. You just want to pay them more? That would be almost 60% of their income. I want them putting that money back into the economy. I think efficiency, and with the Pentagon, you're 100% right.
Okay, kill me. It is totally disingenuous because people under the tax bracket, the top 10% or 1% or whatever, pay much more in taxes, say when they go and buy something at the store. It's the percentage they pay at the store in taxes, or it hits them much harder than it does a rich person. So if you're rich and you go buy, groceries and the tax is 6% or 10%, no big deal. But that's a tax that poor people and average people are paying that hits them much harder as a percentage because obviously they don't have as much money. And with all the loopholes and the carried interest tax and the no tax on, well, the tax rate on investments. So if you make money through investments, your tax rate is much lower than money you make on income. So people who work for a living get taxed at about double the rate of people who make money off of money they inherited and they put in the bank and just invest, and the dividends they get. And they don't even get taxed unless they take it out. So the trick is wealthy people like Elon Musk, they just borrow money against the money they have in the stock market and Bitcoin and all that stuff, and they never have to pay tax on it because they actually could write off the money because it's a loan which they could write off as a business expense. That's how it works. So Brian Kilmeade is completely disingenuous. Wealthy people pay, what was that, Donald Trump, the 1 year they did a tax audit on him, he effectively paid 7% in taxes. I pay 23% in taxes, and I work 50 hours a week. Okay, guys, thanks for listening once again. Like, share, subscribe. See you next time.